Imagine this. The alarm shrills at 6:47 a.m., the exact minute you chose yesterday to seize the day. Sunlight crawls across the ceiling like a slow confession. But instead of hope, a cold vacuum blooms beneath your ribs. You scroll the feed. A stranger's engagement ring glints like a threat. An entrepreneur brags about 4 a.m. workouts. Someone's pet turtle meditates beneath a bonsai. You smile, thumbs up, and feel the smile rot inside your skull. You rise, shower, dress, speak the lines assigned to you. Good morning. How was your night? While an invisible metronome ticks. Achieve, improve, optimize. Yet the script feels dubbed. The voice does not sound like yours. Somewhere between coffee sip and calendar ping, a question detonates. What if the thing you are chasing is not happiness, but the idea that happiness is chaseable? You pause mid-bite of toast. Butter glistens like liquid gold and tastes of nothing. Your heart beats the same rhythm it did at 16 when you swore that one day you would feel different, lighter, fuller, finished. The years have obediently delivered promotions, passport stamps, playlists, therapy, love affairs, vitamin supplements. Still, the horizon recedes exactly as fast as you sprint toward it. Picture yourself at 80, leafing backward to the album of your life. Every milestone circled in red, every triumph captioned and dated, yet the emotion column blank. What happened to the promise that achievement would distill into contentment? Why does the finish line keep sprouting another 100 meters? Here is the paradox. The more fiercely you grip the steering wheel of desire, the more the road unravels beneath you like a magician's silk. You were told fulfillment is a summit. Instead, it is a treadmill angled ever steeper. And the cruelest joke? The incline is powered by your own footsteps. Pause. Feel the chill of that recognition settle between your shoulder blades. You have done everything culture prescribed, yet the prescription refills itself with louder, shinier refills. Could it be that the system profits precisely because you never arrive? Who would buy the next upgrade if tomorrow you finally felt enough? So stand there, half-dressed, heartbeat syncing with the second hand of a clock you did not build but inherited. Ask yourself not why you are unhappy, but why you ever believed permanent happiness was a contract you signed at birth. Let the question echo, hollow and metallic, down every corridor of your ambition. Ahead lies a corridor darker than failure. The possibility that the chase itself is a disease for which it pretends to be the cure. Do not flinch. Step closer. The next room holds mirrors instead of maps. You were born into a rigged casino. Before your first conscious want, billboards had already sketched the silhouette of the good life. Your parents, themselves conditioned, repeated mantras. Work hard, be happy. The words sank like seeds into wet clay. Carl Jung would call these inherited visions collective illusions. They are not your desires. They are ancestral hand-me-downs, polished by markets, sanctified by tradition. Yet you sign them with your own blood. Every scroll, swiped, and purchase reinscribes a contract. The self becomes a startup whose IPO is perpetual bliss, an enterprise doomed by its own prospectus. Nietzsche warned that the last man would invent happiness and blink. He was describing you, armed with mood-tracking apps instead of swords. Society replaced the tragic sense of life with a metric, net well-being. But metrics mutate into tyrants. Once happiness is quantified, it becomes comparable, and comparison breeds lack. The algorithm does not ask if you're content. It asks why you're not as ecstatic as profile #3 for 87. Viktor Frankl observed that happiness cannot be pursued. It must ensue. Yet the modern doctrine reverses a clause. Pursuit itself is sacralized, turning life into a scavenger hunt with no final clue. Neurologically, dopamine spikes not when you grasp a reward, but when you anticipate it. The brain is a treadmill engineered by evolution and culture oiling the belt. Consider the hedonic treadmill. Each triumph raises a baseline of expectation faster than satisfaction can land. The new car smell fades in weeks, but the loan lingers for years. Meanwhile, your cortex spins narratives. When I reach X, then I will rest. But X is a mirage receding across cortical sand. Society amplifies the mirage. GDP rises when you medicate restlessness, not when you cure it. Influencers sell the map to a treasure they themselves have not found. The economy of desire needs your perpetual deficit. It auctions placebo upgrades to the highest bidder. You, bidding with your life. Jung again. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The unconscious command is simple: want more. It speaks in a language of urgency, notifications, deadlines, FOMO. You obey because the alternative is a silence, so wide it feels like death. Yet beneath the noise lies a deeper wound, the terror of insignificance. If happiness is the proof that life has meaning, then its absence threatens cosmic denial. So you sprint, not merely toward pleasure, but away from the void humming behind every unanswered notification. This is the hidden architecture of your discontent, a conspiracy between neurology, capitalism, and mortality, dressed as destiny. You are not failing the program. The program is failing you by succeeding too well. It keeps you running long after the finish line has been photoshopped onto an ever-scrolling horizon, and the cruelest revelation waits in the wings. The faster you run, the more the horizon recedes, because it is painted on the inside of your own skull. Look closer. The deficit you feel is not private. It is civic infrastructure. Cities are zoned for longing. Glass towers promise altitude to souls stuck in traffic. Your commute becomes a daily rehearsal of not yet. Billboards diagnose you with imaginary absences. Pharmacies sell the antidote in gel capsules and streaming subscriptions. The skyline itself is a bar graph of unmet desire. Cognitive bias hardens this architecture into fate. The anchoring effect fixes your expectations to the highest number you've recently seen and influences bonus, a cousin's wedding cost, making every ordinary day feel like a rounding error. Social comparison, once limited to village gossip, now scales to 7 billion data points. Your brain, evolved for 40-person tribes, drowns in the metrics of strangers. Neurologically, chronic cortisol etches microfractures in memory. You recall the sting of missing out more vividly than the warmth of simple evenings. Over time, the amygdala enlarges while the hippocampus thins, tilting perception toward threat and scarcity. The result is a populace that can recite quarterly sales figures yet forgets the smell of unbought lilacs outside the window. Cultural conditioning scripts the epilogue. Parents film first steps not to save them but to curate them. Children learn presence is only justified when mediated by a lens. By adolescence, self-worth is denominated in likes, liquid currency that evaporates overnight. A generation grows up fluent in branding yet stuttering in solitude. The panic attack at 2 a.m. is not an illness. It is a receipt. Entire economies orbit this vacuum. Wellness apps monetize mindfulness by the minute. Dating platforms auction intimacy by the swipe. Each transaction promises relief but designs for return. The user agreement is simple. We will keep you hungry enough to keep buying bread, but never let you taste the final loaf. Zoom out and the pattern metastasizes. Nations measure prosperity by consumption. Burning forests to feel warmer about GDP. Democracies auction policy to the loudest fear, because frightened citizens click and donate. The climate itself becomes collateral damage of an emotional Ponzi scheme. Each generation borrows joy against the next atmosphere. Meanwhile, language corrodes. Words like contentment sound antique, suspect, synonym for laziness. In their place rises a vocabulary of hustle, grind, optimize, level up. The tongue forgets how to speak of stillness without branding it self-care. Silence is no longer a commons. It is a subscription. And so the unseen consequence reveals itself. Unhappiness is no longer a bug in the system. It is the operating system. A civilization that must grow or die teaches its citizens to desire or despair. Two faces of the same coin minted in the dark. You are not merely experiencing personal failure. You are executing code written in boardrooms and synapses long before you were born. Feel the weight of that recognition settle in your marrow. The ache you carry is not evidence of your brokenness. It is evidence that the machine is running perfectly, using your heartbeat as its metronome. Now step off the belt, not by sprinting faster toward a better horizon, but by ceasing to chase horizons at all. The rebellion begins with a single heretical act. Want what is already here. Start small. Sit on the kitchen floor at 3 a.m. when the insomnia gnaws. Feel the cool linoleum against your bare calves. Listen to the refrigerator hum its one-note hymn. Notice that in this moment, nothing is being sold to you. Nothing is being measured. The silence is not a bug in the feed. It is the original soundtrack, royalty-free. Stay until the urge to narrate the scene into a post dissolves like sugar in black coffee. Next, practice negative capability, Keats' term for resting in uncertainties without irritably reaching for fact or reward. When the algorithm offers you the next upgrade, pause. Name the sensation that rises. Is it curiosity or fear of inadequacy? Label it, then let it pass like weather. You are training the prefrontal cortex to veto the amygdala's false alarms. Neuroplasticity is on your side. Every refusal is a rep that strengthens the muscle of enough. Reclaim the commons of attention. Delete one app that profits from your unrest. Replace it with an analog ritual. Sharpening a pencil, brewing tea, watching a single leaf float in the cup. These are not productivity hacks. They are acts of civil disobedience against the attention economy. Each minute you refuse to commodify is a vote for a different civilization. Seek out the unoptimized. Walk a street with no destination. Take the long way home past a house whose garden smells of wet earth and garlic. When the mind protests this is wasting time, answer aloud, exactly. Waste is the antidote to efficiency worship. The clock on your phone measures hours. The garden measures seasons. Choose your calendar. History whispers precedence. Diogenes lived in a barrel, owning a bowl until seeing a child drink with cupped hands. He smashed it. Henry David Thoreau counted his riches in huckleberries and moonlight. More recently, a hospice nurse recorded the top regrets of the dying. None wished they had chased harder. Instead, they longed for stillness, courage to be ordinary, time with people they loved. Let their last clarity be your first. Create a to-don't list. Things you will no longer pursue just because absence terrifies you. Post it where you once displayed metrics of success. Watch the white space around the list grow. That is your new territory. Finally, renegotiate the contract. Say to yourself, I will strive, but for depth, not distance. I will aim to burn brightly, not forever. This vow transmutes ambition from a horizon into a hearth, something that warms the present instead of luring you away from it. Feel the belt slow under your feet. The horizon does not rush closer. Instead, you discover solid ground beneath it. Stand at the edge of the stopped treadmill. The belt lies still, yet the room is spinning, not from motion, but from the sudden absence of it. In that vertigo, you meet the last secret. The happiness you hunted was never a place to reach. It was the sound of your own footsteps echoing in an empty hall. Schopenhauer whispers from the wings. Life swings like a pendulum backward and forward between pain and boredom. He did not prescribe despair. He handed you the map of the prison, so you could see the bars are welded from thought alone. The deepest cage is a belief that contentment must be earned by acquisition rather than revealed by subtraction. Look again. That hollow beneath your ribs. Call it longing, call it lack. It is not a cavity to fill. It is a doorway. Its edges are shaped exactly like the present moment. Walk through. Notice how the air on the other side is the same air, yet now it touches bare skin instead of armor. Here the mind offers its final bargain. If you stop chasing, won't you disappear? Answer with the evidence of your own pulse. Each beat arrives unbidden, unbought, unimproved. Your aliveness is not a project. It is a given. The universe has already greenlit your existence without a business plan. Watch the story unravel. The narrative that you are a protagonist delayed on the way to a triumphant final scene. There is no final scene. There is only this uncut frame. The credits are rolling, and the film is still being shot. Hold both truths at once. Infinite ending, infinite beginning. And feel the paradox stop time for one luminous instant. In that instant, desire does not vanish. It transforms. It becomes curiosity without hunger, love without ledger. You may still build, create, reach, but now the motion is orbit, not escape. The earth circles the sun without yearning to become it, and the orbit is enough. Close your eyes. Picture yourself at 80 again, leafing backward. This time the pages are blank, except for tiny pinpricks of light, moments when you stood still and let the world perforate you. Those holes are not scars. They are windows. Through them, you see the same child who once waited for life to start, now recognized as the one who was always holding the pen. You exhale. The air tastes of nothing special, ordinary, free. And in that ordinariness, the great will stops creaking. The silence is not death. It is the hush of a theater when the lights come up and the audience realizes the play and the life outside the play are the same unfolding miracle. Leave the theater barefoot. The pavement is warm. The night sky does not offer answers. It offers space. Step into it. You were never late, never lost. You were already home, walking,